Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. Veilguard's release has a lot of people thinking about some of the older Dragon Age games and how much we enjoyed them. Most especially Origins, which is a game that kind of sits on an island by itself. It has an incredible origin system that unfortunately other games haven't tried to utilize. So it's really the only game that starts with 5 or 6 different possible beginnings, that all of which are going to give you a radically different background, which can really shape your perspective and provide a lot of reactivity throughout the rest of your playthrough. So because of that, it's brought up the question, is there the possibility of potentially remastering Origins in a similar way to what's happening right now with Witcher 1 and what happened with the Mass Effect series with the Legendary Edition? John Epler spoke about this in a recent Rolling Stone article, and I'll leave a link in the description to the PC Gamer article that references this. And basically he says, no, it's extremely unlikely that Bioware would be able to remaster Origins. And the reason for that is that it uses an old proprietary engine called Eclipse. Both Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 were made using this engine. There are very few people still working at Bioware who understand how this engine works. According to Epler, it's probably around 20 people. Not nearly enough to pull together an effort to rebuild Origins from the ground up. So basically, they would have to try to rebuild it in a completely new engine, which obviously would be a monumental task, considering it's not clear how much that game would actually sell. I know from a critical standpoint and from the minds of a lot of people who are longtime fans of Dragon Age, they consider Origins to be the best version, but we got to keep in mind Origins only sold 3 million copies, which obviously pales in comparison to the 12 million that Inquisition sold. So there is definitely very good reason for EA, and by extension Bioware, to be questionable about whether or not the level of effort necessary in order to remaster this game would be worth the return that they would get from the fandom. Some of you may be wondering, why is it so difficult to remaster Origins if they were able to do the same thing for the Mass Effect series, which came out in a similar timeline? But the difference is Mass Effect was created using Unreal Engine 3, which means there are a lot more people already with Bioware who understood what to do with that particular engine. And it was much easier, I'm sure, to hire people who understood what to do with that engine and could get up to speed quickly. So getting a Legendary Edition out of the Mass Effect series was not nearly the monumental task that it would take to get Origins and frankly Dragon Age 2 remastered in the same way. So unfortunately, it looks like most likely that's not happening. I'm pretty sure, I couldn't find the quote, but I'm pretty sure David Gator had mentioned at an earlier point that he would most likely be willing to help with this effort if it turns out they did want to remaster Origins. I obviously would love to see this, and I feel like it would be of great benefit to the gaming industry at large, because we've had this conversation multiple times before that your perception of Dragon Age is really shaped by which game you played first. A lot of the people who played Inquisition first feel like that's the best game in the series and feel like Origins is basically archaic and doesn't hold up. Whereas the people who started with Origins, a lot of them see that as the very best game in the series, and basically Inquisition is second. And I think if we could get a version of Origins that had updated graphics and a combat system that was a little more modern, certainly not like Veilguard, I'm not trying to go all crazy with it, but just more modern and had better animations, and it was a little easier for modern gamers to get into it, I think a lot more people would be able to play all the way through the story And in my opinion, if you just take the main game, Origins has the best story out of the entire series. Now, if you take the DLCs, of course, Inquisition with Trespasser, that's kind of a different deal. But still, base game, I feel like Origins just stacks up very, very well, not only in the Dragon Age series, but in the gaming industry at large. It's really, really difficult to find a game that has a better story than Origins. So if we were able to get a remastered version of this incredible experience, I think it would be absolutely fantastic. And it's absolutely something I would be willing to pay for. But unfortunately, again, it looks like most likely that's not something we're going to get. I felt like a lot of you would be interested in this information. As always, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it just is what it is. Anyway, leave me your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.